You know, if someone had told me a cheap plastic snow shovel would turn me into the villain of Ridgewood Circle, I would have called him nuts. But here we are, me Keith Norwood, the guy who became public enemy #1 in the most overpriced subdivision in Greenwood Village, Colorado, all because I was too generous with snow removal. Wild right. When I bought this house 3 years back, the realtor didn't bother warning me about the HOA rulebook, the one thicker than a college textbook full of nonsense like mailbox alignment and the exact hue of beige you're allowed for curtains. My first winter, I got dinged for planting red tulips instead of white. Thought that was petty. Oh, just wait. See, the real fireworks started one January Tuesday. Overnight, we got hammered with 14 inches of snow. The city plows had hit the main road before dawn. But me, I had a job site in Denver by 7, so I was out at 5 with my snowblower, this absolute beast I'd bought after my first miserable winter here. But I didn't just clear my driveway. There was Margaret, my 78-year-old neighbor, a widow who lived alone and was all kindness. She couldn't handle that kind of work. So I did hers, too. And well, once you're out there machine roaring, why not just do the whole cul-de-sac, right? 6 houses total. Took me 20 extra minutes, and honestly, it felt good. People waved from their windows, gave me thumbs up. That was the routine for 3 winters. Nobody had a problem until Patricia Henderson moved in. Patricia? She bought the Colonial at the end of the street, got it painted an even whiter white than before, and looked like she'd measured each strand of her hair with a ruler. Pearls to the mailbox, I kid you not. Within 2 weeks, she's on the HOA board. Within a month, she's president. So a couple days after a big snow, I get this letter official, HOA letterhead, raised seal and everything. Dear Mr. Norwood, it says you have been performing unauthorized snow removal on common areas without proper approval. There's a bylaw, apparently, about this. Section whatever, subsection something buried in legal mumbo-jumbo. Says you need written permission 72 hours in advance, and only licensed contractors can touch the road. My crime being a decent neighbor. They hit me with a $350 fine. 15 days to pay up or they'll slap me with a $1,000 penalty next time. At first I thought it was a joke. I mean, seriously. Helping Margaret is now a punishable offense. But there it was, clear as day, in the bylaws meant for landscaping companies, not regular folks. So I called Tom, my neighbor, who's been here over a decade. Turns out Patricia fined him $400 last month for patching a pothole. She's on a power trip, he said. Half the board wanted her out, but she had dirt on everyone knew their secrets. HOA politics, who knew? But I wasn't about to pay $350 for being a good guy. So I wrote up an appeal, laid out the facts. Margaret wrote a letter too, saying how much the help meant to her. Patricia denied me in less than 48 hours. Rules are rules, she said. No exceptions. It was about liability, never mind that I'd never asked for a dime. So I made my choice. If helping got me fined, then fine, I'd just stop helping. I'd play by the letter of the law, not a hair over. 5 days later, another snowstorm, 9 inches fresh powder everywhere. I cleared my driveway, stopped dead at the property line, didn't even glance at Margaret's, didn't touch the road. Drove to work, and from my truck I saw neighbors staring out confused. Calls started coming in. Margaret first. Keith, honey, is everything all right? I saw you only did your driveway, I explained, trying not to let the anger through. She sighed, said her grandson would come by later. Tom called next, laughing. Going full malicious compliance, huh? Just following the rules I told him. Now Patricia drove a BMW. Not exactly a snowmobile. She was trapped behind a wall of snow the city plow left. The next few days, the cul-de-sac turned into an icy mess. Margaret's grandson came with a plow, got her out. The couple in the third house worked from home, no biggie. Patricia, though, she was stuck. I watched her in those leather boots, heels, in a blizzard trying to shovel out her driveway. She made it maybe 3 feet and gave up. BMW didn't move for 2 days. Saturday morning, a truck rolls in. Henderson Property Services big magnetic sign. Clears the whole road and Patricia's drive. Tom called me later. That's her brother's company. Bet you anything the HOA is footing the bill. Probably not legal. Major conflict of interest, but she ran the board. What were we supposed to do? So I started documenting everything. Next snowstorm, same deal. I do my driveway. Henderson Property Services does the rest. I take photos, note the dates and times. Then I file a formal request to review the HOA financial records, my right by Colorado law. Patricia tries to stonewall me, but I quote the statute. She finally caves, review them at next month's board meeting. Board meeting comes held in Patricia's living room because, of course, renting space was unnecessary expense. She slides a folder across the table, sanitized records. Only totals, no invoices. $3,200 for snow removal in January alone. I need to see the actual invoices, I say. Patricia bristles, but another board member, Roger, a retired dentist, backs me up. He's right. She promises them for next time. I ask for 5 business days by law. The room temperature drops about 20 degrees. Patricia's smile is all teeth. 3 days later, another letter, $250 fine for failure to clear sidewalk. We didn't have sidewalks. No one on Ridgewood Circle did. I took photos from every angle, appealed in person. Patricia answers the door, all silk blouse and cold stares. That's not how the law works, I tell her. She lectures me about rules and civilization, tells me property values will drop if people like me aren't kept in check. I ask her point blank if that's why she hired her brother's company. Her face drains, then turns red. That's a slanderous accusation. It's a question, I reply, and I'll have the answer when you provide those invoices. Days pass. No documents. I send a certified letter to the whole board. 5 more days, or I file a complaint with the state. Suddenly, the violation notices pile up. My grass is too long under a foot of snow. My house number's not reflective enough. My mailbox, a 1/4 inch off, garbage cans visible. Tom tries the same. Nothing happens to him. Margaret calls me in tears. Patricia threatened to report her for operating an illegal business because she knits baby blankets for church sales. She can't afford a lawyer. She's scared. That's when I knew this wasn't just about snow. Patricia was weaponizing the HOA, bullying anyone who stood up to her. Most people just paid the fines. Me, I called a lawyer. Rachel Crane, sharp, tough, hates bullies. She reviewed my documentation, said it was textbook HOA abuse. We filed a complaint with the state and sent a demand letter to the board. Drop the fines, cough up the records, or get sued. Patricia's response, emergency board meeting. She tries to start foreclosure on my house for unpaid fines. Yeah, I didn't know they could do that either. Rachel calmed me down. She said it wouldn't hold, but Patricia's bad faith was making our case stronger by the day. The next storm hit hard, 17 inches. Henderson Property Services didn't show. Patricia's BMW was stuck for days. Then an email from the HOAA, special $300 assessment per household due to increased snow removal costs. Patricia even blamed me, said certain residents were prioritizing grievances over community welfare. It was laughable. Rachel added harassment and retaliation to our complaint. The state stepped in fast. An inspector named Jennifer showed up, demanded real records. Patricia stalled, claimed everything was in storage. Jennifer gave her 48 hours, or the board would face penalties. Board members started cracking. Susan, the banker, pressed Patricia for the files. Patricia walked out muttering about vendettas. The 48 hours passed, no documents. Jennifer referred the case to the district attorney. A detective called me in. I handed over every scrap of documentation, fines, photos, emails, highlighted bylaws. He told me they'd found $23,000 paid to Henderson Property Services over 6 months, no competitive bidding, no conflict disclosure, and plenty of fake invoices like $7,000 for landscaping in December when everything's buried under snow. The DA started interviewing neighbors. Margaret told them about the threats. Tom about his pothole fine. Others had stories too. Patricia had weaponized the HOA for years, using it as her own little kingdom. With Patricia under investigation, she stopped showing up at meetings. The board voted to suspend her, dropped all my fines, and promised to rewrite the rules so neighbors could actually help each other again. Formal charges were filed: embezzlement, theft, forgery, even a RISO violation. Her brother, too. The local paper ran the story. It was ugly, but it was honest. By May, Patricia took a plea deal, 3-year suspended sentence, $28,000 in restitution, 500 hours of community service, and a lifetime ban from serving on any HOA board. Her brother got probation. Her house went up for sale. I watched her move out. No pearls, no perfect hair, just a tired, defeated woman. I felt satisfied, but also a little sad. It didn't have to end this way. If she'd just let people be decent, none of this would have happened. The new family who bought her house brought cookies when they moved in. Lisa, the wife, said they'd heard about the drama, but things seemed better now. She was right. The HOA cut the rule book from 247 pages to 35, canceled the bogus assessments, and set up a volunteer program for neighborly help just with some basic waivers. Rachel, my lawyer, became a friend. She said she wanted to use my story as a case study on HOA law. I agreed. She bought me dinner to celebrate the end of it all. You know what's funny? All of this, every meeting, every letter, every sleepless night started because I wanted to clear snow for my neighbors. Patricia could never understand that. For her, rules were everything order over kindness. But Margaret, she taught me something. She passed away in October, left me her house in the will. I rented it out to a young couple, kept it as a home, not an investment. Felt right. First snow of the next season, I was out before dawn, did my driveway, then Margaret's, then the shared road. Murphy, the new family's golden retriever, started joining me, made snow clearing a comedy show for the neighbors. One morning, the HOA put up a plaque at the entrance in appreciation of Keith Norwood, whose dedication exemplifies the true spirit of community. Tom joked I should invoice them for my work. I told him I'd rather eat my snow shovel. Time passed. The neighborhood changed. People pitched in, had cookouts, even started caroling at Christmas, me included, despite my terrible tenor. The thing is, all that drama, as exhausting as it was, brought us together. Patricia's tyranny gave us a reason to unite. People who used to wave and disappear inside started talking, sharing, helping. And then months later, I got a letter from Patricia. Handwritten, shaky, but honest. She admitted everything, her power trip, her anger, her regrets. Said she was in therapy now, trying to figure herself out. She apologized, said she hoped someone was still helping Margaret with the snow. I didn't respond. Didn't need to. The act of owning up was enough. That winter I kept clearing snow. Simple, humble, neighborly work. Murphy at my side, coffee waiting inside, group texts full of snowflake gifts and coffee cups from neighbors who noticed. It wasn't about recognition. It was about doing what needed to be done. Because as Margaret taught me and Patricia unintentionally proved, rules without humanity become tyranny. Power without accountability becomes abuse. The only cure is a community that stands up and says enough. Funny, isn't it, how something as simple as a snow shovel can start a revolution? How a little act of kindness can be an act of defiance in the face of petty control. Every time I pick up that shovel, I remember help when you can give, when you're able, and never let a rule stop you from being kind. So here's what I learned the hard way. Community isn't something a board can create with bylaws and fines. It's what happens when people look out for each other, when they laugh, grumble, work, and sometimes fight together, but always come back to what matters. A year ago, we were neighbors in name only. Now we're a community, scars and all. And hey, let's be real. Maybe the world needs a few less Patricias. Or maybe if we're lucky, it just needs more people willing to stand up to them. So let me ask you, where's the line for you? When does a rule stop being about safety and start being about control? Have you ever faced a petty tyrant, stood up, or maybe let something slide you wish you hadn't? Tell me what you think. What's your story? What does justice look like in your world? Because at the end of the day, the only thing that keeps the snow from piling up, literally or metaphorically, is folks willing to pick up a shovel and help. And you never know, you might just change your whole neighborhood in the process.
Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video. Cảm ơn các bạn đã xem video.